Hello everybody, today we are going to be cooking a brisket on my 500-gallon offset smoker by Primitive Pits. So let's take a look where we're at right now. Getting ready to put it on. Got it all trimmed and seasoned, and it's probably been sitting about 20 minutes in the seasoning. I personally don't like to use any kind of slather. I feel like it just, I don't know, kind of keeps things a little soggy, and if you get it seasoned early enough where you have a little bit of time for it to sweat, it does a pretty good job of sticking. We're gonna see if I can get this on here one-handed. We already do have the water pan in there. It's gonna be tough to see. I'm gonna do it on both sides. So, got that going. And let's go ahead and get this guy on here. I started a little later today than what I would have liked to have, but mostly because I wanted to make sure I had enough daylight to be able to see everything. I didn't really want to film in the dark. I'm starting a little further back on the pit, so I don't think, at least for now, I plan on using a blocking log. We'll see as we let this thing cook. I'm gonna go ahead and probably let it go a couple hours without actually doing anything. You can't see the temperatures as of right now since I had the lid open, but I'm gonna start at 250 for 3 to 4 hours. That way I can absorb as much smoke as possible. For the first 3 to 4 hours, I'm really not gonna be too concerned with the temperature of the meat, so I have not inserted any kind of meat probes or thermometers yet. I will do that probably at the 4-hour mark, so I will update you guys then. All right, we are going to take a look at how the brisket is moving along. We are about 2.5 hours in, and it's looking good. Nothing is drying out. Looks like maybe went a little light on the seasoning on the edges. I did try to get it, either that or the salt just really soaked in well. Don't have any pooling. I don't think I'm gonna spray yet. And yes, that's from my other video, the lunch, and those were just put on. So we will be looking at that a little bit later. Just because of the time brisket takes, this probably won't be ready tonight. I gotta let it sit pretty much overnight. I do have warmers for them to go into, so we will be doing that. I will update you all later when we start spraying. I'm trying to work on being a little bit better with the camera. I know that the first couple of videos I recorded and they play real small, but I figured out how to do that. And then hopefully over time, I'll be able to get better audio and a microphone for you and possibly someone to help. Right now, I'm kind of just showing what the things are looking like as they cook. Yes, I'm using a pine cone as a wedge here to kind of keep this open. But hopefully I can get somebody to give me a hand too with recording. And if you guys want, I can show you what the steps are that I go through for things such as trimming a brisket, why I kind of do the restaurant style more so than the backyard style, and kind of what I do for the different types of ribs, in terms of whether the seasoning, because there's a really good one you can do where you don't actually have to make the seasoning yourself. You can just purchase something that's on all grocery store shelves, and it actually makes a really good rib. So I will get back to you guys when it's time to check on the brisket again. We are sitting at about 3.5 hours. Gonna take a look at the brisket and see if it's time to spray. I did bump it up to the 275, just holding steady, and nice clear smokestack. So let's take a look and see how she's doing, make sure nothing's drying out too bad. Looking pretty good. Doesn't look like I really need the blocking log for the front. I'm not really seeing where I have anything burning. Go ahead and maybe hit the edges here with a little bit of spray. Trying not to hit the fat. Let's see if I can get a little bit more of a stream. There we go. The reason I don't want to hit the fat is just because I don't want to cool it down with the spray and slow the render process down. We want that fat to render and melt into the meat. It really is what gives it the juiciness and flavor. All right, I'm gonna keep letting this roll. Probably the next time you see it, I'll have the probes in and we'll start watching for temperatures. So maybe about another hour and a half or so. Checking on the brisket. Got a pretty clean fire. It's a little windy today, so every once in a while the wind will blow in the right way where it kind of just, it puffs a little bit here and there, but it's not actually all that bad. Pretty clean, real thin, white to blue, nothing puffing or real cloudy. Still rolling now at about 275 here and about 300 on that one, and we're right in the middle there, so cooking right where we want to be temperature wise. Let's take a look and see how she's doing. She's getting beautiful. Real good color starting to form. Nothing's drying out too bad. Really don't see anything drying out at all, but we're gonna go ahead and spray the edges here. Fat's starting to render down. You can see it because it's getting that yellow color. So we're gonna go ahead and hit it with some spray. We're at about 5.5 hours or so into this cook now. Like I said, we try to avoid the fat cap as best as we can. That way we don't slow down that render process. We're gonna try to get a little bit more color, continue to render. Don't really have any pooling of any fluid on it, so I don't have to tip it. So what we're gonna try to do here then is maybe let this go another hour or two, and we may be ready for a wrap. And I'm gonna go ahead and get the probes set up so we can kind of watch where we are temperature wise as we get ready to head into the wrap. Once I have that all set up, I'll show you what that looks like, and we'll wrap when we're in the 170-ish degree range. Try to get most of the way through the stall before I wrap, because I'd really like to get a nice bark on this if possible, and just use the wrap to kind of push us through the rest of the way. All right, we've got the temperature gauge ran through, so take a look at the brisket, see if we need to spray. I'm gonna go ahead and put this into the meat now. I kind of mentioned this in one of my earlier videos, and it's probably hard to see, but what's really neat about these is as you loosen it, see how big the hole gets? So you can actually fit quite a few in here. It gets larger. And then as you tighten, it constricts, and you can get it where you're not losing as much smoke or air coming through. I'll probably end up putting this right about in the middle here. You don't want to go too far through because you want to get an accurate reading, but she's looking real good, definitely shrinking up quite a bit. Fat is definitely starting to render. Got a little bit of pooling here on the end, but otherwise looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and give her a spray. A little dry here on the corners here. All right, and we will check back in on this probably in about an hour, hour and a half, maybe ready to wrap. It's time to take a look at the brisket and see if we're ready to wrap. All right, let's see how she's looking. Oh yeah, she's looking good. Oh yeah. All right, let's get her out and ready to wrap and see if I can get a good video of that. Sorry it's a little windy, so I had to put some things down to try to hold this paper in the meantime. I mentioned in one of my videos before, I don't really like to add anything to the wrap for a brisket. No fats or anything like that. I will do is spray a little bit of the same spray I've been using on the brisket, just to kind of help with the pliability of the paper here. So let me go ahead and grab that real quick. All right, so typically, probably scoop this back just a little. And this is a little bit more of a curve. Big thing here, I figured I'd fight the wind a little, is I like to kind of bring it in on this side. That way I can get a nice tight wrap. I also have it fat side up, so when I roll it once like this, bring it tighter. I know I'm fat side down. Pull this in. And then that should leave me where I am back, fat side up. And I try as best I can to roll some of this in so it's just more aerodynamic. As you can see, try to keep it nice and tight. And we'll go ahead and get this on the smoker until it probes tender. Just wanted to show everybody that it is wrapped and it is back on the grill, well, smoker, I guess. I do have the thermometer in it, and we are currently reading an internal temp of 181. So we will go till around 202 or so, and we'll start checking for tenderness. Check on the brisket. We're finishing up here. Been wrapped for about an hour and a half, 2 hours or so. We hit 204. Oh yeah, real tender and kind of hot. Should have had some gloves on for that. All right, well, you probably won't see it again for a little while because I'm gonna have to take it in and let it rest down to about 185 degrees. Then I'll move it into a warmer at about 150 for the next 10 to 12 hours. And we'll slice into it tomorrow.